Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today, finally, we are going to do my top 25 bourbons of 2024. I know it took a couple weeks to get there, but I'm so happy. But first, I just got to say, today's January 10th. While I record this, you guys see this actually in a week. But this is the first video I've recorded since any of my videos actually went live. Actually, now 3 have gone live. And when you do something new for the first time, you never know how it's going to go. And it's just been a great week. Like, I don't have like 1 million subscribers or anything like that, but just the support and the comments have been all positive. I just have to give a big shout out to Peter at Whiskey is a Journey for giving me a shout out in a recent Sip It or Skip It episode of his. Thank you so much. And Kurt and Trenton over at SOB Drinks. They shouted me out in a live stream, the last live stream, and they've been like my cheerleaders way before I ever made a video. So I love you guys both. I'll obviously put their links in the description in case you don't know who they are. 2 of the best whiskey channels out there. So thank you everyone for the great response and making me feel welcome to the community. Okay. So today, top 25 bourbons of the year. So how did I get to this list? Lots of math. So over the year of 2024, I do a monthly whiskey cigar club. I'm going to bring that up a lot in this channel. And throughout the year, we do different themes. So one month was like the American single malts, Cinco de Mayo, we did tequila. So it could just be random things, but throughout the year we would do like best of the quarter. So we had a best of the quarter in the first quarter, best of the quarter in the second quarter, and then we started getting towards the end of the year, and almost every single month was, okay, here's 12 bottles, let's score them and see how good they are. So a lot of this data came from blinding a lot of this stuff against other bottles. And then throughout the year, I'll drink just by myself or friends and kind of score things. So I went through a lot of different paperwork. This is all like a lot of notes from my whiskey cigar clubs. I put it all down here, did all the math, and figured out my top 25. Now, in the past couple of weeks, obviously you saw a couple videos where I was scoring a couple different bottles. To try to figure out if any of those made it in. And then I scoured all these bottles to make sure that I didn't miss any, that I didn't open up, or maybe I just forgot about something. So I kind of went through a bunch. So over the past couple of weeks, I've been checking different bottles a few days in a row to see if anything changed, scoring them. And some of those did come in this list. One in my top 5 that really surprised me, and I'll talk a little bit more about it once we get to it. But number 25, Maker's Mark, Cellar Age 2024. And this is coming in at, I'm not going to try to do this every single one, 119.3 proof. I wasn't the biggest fan of last year's release, the first one ever of this, the 2023. And I'm not the biggest fan of this year's release. But it did make my list, number 25. The one that it beat out was the Old Forester 1924 10-year that came out this year. So this barely squeaked by that one. So that's number 25. Number 24, Remus Gatsby 2024 release. These are all going to be 2024 releases. 104.9 proof, number 24. Nothing to really say much about that. Little Book number 23 is Little Book the Infinite. And this comes in a fancy little box. Okay, there you go. So that's number 23. So we got number 22. Oh, here we go. This is one that you guys saw me review, and that's the Larceny A 124. Funny. So I know I said it in the video that I definitely reviewed all these Larcenies and Elijah Craigs throughout the year in Whiskey Cigar Club. Turns out I at least, going through all the notes, I scored this very well when we reviewed it back like in March, April timeframe. So it kind of, my blind from the other video, or not blind, I knew what I was drinking. The tasting from the video that I scored this the best kind of confirmed what I already knew without knowing. So that is, now we're on 21. 21. One from earlier in the year, Jack Daniel's 12. One I think a lot of people forgot about because it came out pretty early in the year, but that was a really good bottle. Ooh, this might be the sleeper one of this whole tournament. This is the Jack Daniel, or excuse me, the Wild Turkey 70th Anniversary 8-year. It's like a limited release, but it was only $50, and this might be the cheapest bottle in the entire tournament. We'll kind of find out together, but this could be a sleeper. Definitely Cinderella story if that makes it out. Okay, this is another one that you guys saw in a review recently. I think in the last video before, or the video right before this, the Penelope 10-year. So this ended up making it all the way to 19. Oh boy, 19. Yep, 19. So at 18, this could almost go in my most disappointed bottle of the year, only because of how excited I was to actually finally get this bottle. And at number 18 is 13th Colony Double Oaked. And after the past couple of years of this bottle like being the top bottle for a lot of different whiskey tubers, and I finally got it, and it didn't blow my mind. And I did hear that this year's release wasn't as good as the years before, but it just came off pretty charry to me. So we'll see how it does. It was still good, still very good, but just I overhyped it in my head, I guess. So this is one of the bottles I just started getting into to see if it was going to make it in here. And that's the Holiday Soft Red Wheat Rickhouse Proof. Now, mainly, I just got into it because it was on different people's top whatever lists. And I was like, man, I have one of those bottles around here. Let me go check it out. And it was pretty good. So it scored well, and it got all the way up to 17. It's number 17. And at 16, the Redwood Empire Haystack Needle Bourbon. This actually won one of our Whiskey Cigar Clubs, scored really well. I never seen one of these until this year. I know a lot of people talk about it. I also have the rye that made it into my rye top list. So this is 25 through 16. I'll clear this off and get the 15 through 6. Okay, back. So now we're at 15. 15 is the Booker's Reserve, a release that came out this year. Pretty damn good. Pretty good, damn. And if you saw the Booker's review I did a couple of videos ago, you know I want Booker's to do more of this and less of that. Oh, here we go. It's another one that I got into recently. The Rare Perfection 8-year. This one is a pick. Liquor Junction barrel number 11. Someone sent this to me in the mail, and I saw a couple of different whiskey tubers really talk this up. So opened it up, tried it, had a few pours of it, scored it every time, and it made it all the way to 14. So pretty good. Oh, this is another maybe possibly Cinderella story over here. Dark Arts, the Whiskey House, straight bourbon whiskey, cask strength. Very good. I had it earlier this year, scored it well. Tried it again recently to see if it actually lived up to the score. And it did. So 13 Dark Arts. Oh, another box. Ooh. Bam! Okay. Garrison Brothers Cowboy Bourbon. 140.2 proof. Now, I'm doing this whole tournament blind, but once I get to this in the tournament, there's no way I'm not going to know this one. This is a very distinct pour. It's one of those pours that you got to be in the mood for, but it is very good. So it came in at 13, 15, 14, 13. I mean, this came in at 12. Let me take the box out of here. Just want to show you guys the fancy stuff these things come in. Here we go at number 11. And this is another pick. This is a rare character KOA. This was picked by Green Farms, a local liquor store around here. I ended up getting 2 bottles of this. This is one of those things I waited in line in the morning for. There wasn't too many people. It wasn't a crazy line. Like I got there right before they opened. But I brought one of these bottles to the SLB Drinks Patreon meetup in Valparaiso, Indiana earlier this year for a bottle share. And man, it went by. It went quick. I didn't bring it back home. And I had a little bit left the next day after the bottle share. And I brought it to SLB Drinks basement bar. And if you haven't seen that video of me blinding Current Trend, I will put it up here somewhere. And Kurt actually drank this. Now, he thought he was drinking crab whiskey, so he didn't score very well, but it is phenomenal. Then we get into the top 10, and you guys saw me review this one, the Old Fitz 10-year. Yup, I thought maybe it was going to make it up here, and it made it all the way to the top 10 based off the score. So we'll see how it does. May have some Regency bias. Oh boy, here we go. Everyone's favorite bottle this year. Russell's 15 finished 9th for me, and that is due to it scored I drank this 3 times, one by itself, I think another time by itself, and then in a blind, and all 3 times it didn't do very well, to the point that earlier this year, right after I drank the 3rd time, I sent out 12 1-ounce samples of this, the Wild Turkey Triumph, the Wild Turkey Voyage, Wild Turkey rare breed non-chill filter, and a Russell's 15. 1-ounce samples of all 5 of those in a blind to 12 different friends just to see if they liked it or not. Of course, everyone loved it, and by the time I sent it all out, I fell in love with this bottle. So it should probably be higher on my list, but it did have some lower scores to kind of bring it down a little bit. So we'll see. It's at 9, so maybe will help it. We'll see. So Russell's 15 was 9, and a Stag Junior finished in 8. This is a Stag Junior 24A, and this is the only Stag Junior from this year that I got. Again, I try to collect them all. I try to catch them all. I don't, no matter how hard I try. But this is the one Stag Junior I got from this year, and I really like that. I'm a big Stag Junior fan, so not shocking for me to have it in my, number 8. Okay, the number 7 is a Willet Purple Top, 11-year-old. This is a pick from a local liquor store, Conti's. I even got to pick up my number 30. Phenomenal pick. I think this is probably the highest score or highest, ranked pick up here. Oh boy. And then we get to number 6, right outside my top 5. And my favorite bottle from probably the past 2 years, George T. Stagg. This is a 2024 release. I got it towards the end of the year. I think the reason it didn't score higher was because I actually got an off-putting note on this the first time I had it, fresh crack. I forgot, I think it was like spoiled milk. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was like something like that. And I was like, oh no, because this is one of my favorite pours. I didn't pay full secondary for it, but definitely not at MSRP. Paid a little bit up for it. I did get it from a friend, so thank you. But the pours after that definitely scored higher, so did make it all the way to number 6. We'll see how it does. But like basically the only BTAC I ever am able to get is the George C. Stagg. I know you feel really bad for me, but I've never had a William Llewellyn. I've never owned an Eagle Rare 17. I have had a Handy, but I've never had a Sazerac either. But the George C. Staggs I've had a few of. But I love it. I love it. So let's get down to the top 5. Okay, my top 5. And at number 5 is one that I've actually seen a couple of reviews recently on, including Peter at Whiskey is a Journey. And he just reviewed this. And because he reviewed it in 2025, he was talking about he's going to put it into possibly his top of 2025. But I did have it in 2024. It did very well in several blinds. I really like this. So at number 5, Smoke Eye Hill Barrel Proof Bourbon. At number 4, this year's Bombergers. Maybe a shock for some people because some of the bottles we've already seen here. This is it scored really well in a couple blinds this year for me. Okay, another one of my favorite bottles of all time, and that's the Jack Daniel's Coy Hill. Now, when I talk about it, I'm talking about the Coy Hill from 21 that I have. That's one of my favorite bottles I have. But this is this year's. It's 124 proof. Phenomenal. I'm a big I found out through my journey that I really like Jack Daniel's like at cask strength, barrel proof, I guess. Okay, now we get to top 2. And number 2 is something I just opened in the past few weeks. It is a $450 bottle, MSRP, 20-year-old bourbon. And I wasn't sure if I was ever going to open this. I know what I was going to do with this. But I had it. And because of this channel, I said to myself, well, I got to open it to see if it's worthy of being in the top list. And let me tell you, this thing blew my mind when I had it. And I had a couple pours out of it. Every single time, it's scored very high. And I'm not gonna, we'll see how it does. I'm recording this Friday, like I said earlier. Tomorrow I'm actually doing my monthly Whiskey Cigar Club, and we're gonna do our group's top 12 blind tasting. And I'm actually gonna sneak this in there as the 12th bottle. They've never had it. But so I'm curious on how that goes tomorrow and how well it does or doesn't do in this tournament, because it is low proof and a lot of stuff is higher proof. So that might outshine it. But when I was drinking this, I had it with several other things, like not blinding or A, B, and B, but like after it. And it just so good. So good. So we'll see. It comes in a fancy metal box and all kinds of stuff, you know. And number 1, another one comes in a box. Heaven Hill 18. Get it out of the box. Oh, this fancy little boxes. Heaven Hill 18, just a phenomenal whiskey. Scored very well multiple times this year for me. So we'll see if it can hold on to its number 1 ranking or if it gets beat. So now that you saw the whole list of my top 25, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to do a tournament where I'm going to put 5 bottles in each matchup. So one matchup, it's not necessarily going to be in order, but the first A matchup will be the number 1 ranked bottle with the number 6th, the number 11th, number 16th, and number 21 ranked bottle. That'll be one matchup. Then like another matchup will be like the 2, 7, and so on. So they're it'll be kind of spread apart a little bit to see if these top 5 all win their matchups. So that'll be 5 videos of those. And then I'm going to take the winners, move them to the final. I'm also going to take all the second place from each matchup, do a consolation bracket, and pick a winner from the losers, the second place out of the matchups, and put that in the final. So that'll be a 6th video. And then the final to really see my top 6 bottles of the year. So that's what's going to be the next few videos. My plan is to record them all before editing them all. So my wife's going to basically pour all these for me, so they're all blind. I don't know what I'm drinking, so there's no bias. And I'm going to do the whole tournament all the way to the final without knowing what I'm drinking. And then once it's all done, then edit it, and then I'll find out after I do it all, the results. So that's it. What do you guys think? What do you think about my top 25 list? You know, what's your top 5 bottles? Write it down in the comments. There's no giveaway in this video, sorry, but you know, tell me your top 5 bourbons of the year. Bye.